As the opposition team, this House do not believe we must oppose award and recognitions in the artistic and creative fields. Before I begin to my arguments, I would like to rebuttal from the pro team. The proposition team saying that it's unfair for the other artists that doesn't include it. First, we must think why the artist is not included. Because if we thinking about the fairness for all of the artists, why don't we invite all of the artists in the world to the grants? Why artist is not included can be because of the not fulfilled conditions or not having the minimum capability to attend it. By this, awards and recognitions can create a motivation for small artists, which I will explain more on my second argument later. And second, art is subjective. Of course, art is subjective, different for every people's perspective. But if we compare the professionals and the basic people that doesn't know about art, the one who having the capability for really criticize is the unqualified people who doesn't know anything at all, but of the suggestion from the viewers and the people who had professionals in the art is important. But of course, we still need the people who having learned art more deeper than the basic people. Besides, pro team also say that being recognized not because of the trophy, but because of the viewers. Being recognized for both trophy and viewers is way more better than just being recognized because of the views. Because sometimes being recognized because of the views doesn't mean your art is good, your art is valued. We are recognized just for views in one case when we're being recognized because of the views in a bad way. Should that something to be proud of? Example, people having a conversations and start talking about the most famous song on top played on YouTube. Turns out, it's a Cocomelon channel. And does this mean Cocomelon is bad? No, of course. But does this mean also Cocomelon is good? We doesn't know because we're not the professionals to criticize. Because things being valued, awards is needed so things can be valued. Also need as a range of valuing art piece from the people that already learn it. Because just by an art piece is recognized does not mean it just because of the views, but it can also because of the quality. Example, I ever heard not the famous songs, but for me it's good, but we don't know from the professionals one, but it's not famous. So being recognized doesn't mean that your art is really good. That's why we need the awards to having a valid information of the art. Is it really good or just being recognized by people? By that, I will begin to my argument, which first, award can use as artist motivations on their work, and second, award is a shape of validations for artists. I will begin to my first argument, which award can use as artist motivations on their work. Artwork often seenly good or famous, or most seen or even most listened based on the viewers. Art piece with me, which means the more people who seen it, the more it became famous. But do the most in it is the most good or the best? Application like Spotify or others music applications, following music due to the listeners, due to like songs. But do this means that is really or what the real value of the artist or the art piece? What if art piece is being trending topic just because it's controversial or having a conflict? Or people just hate that? Does that valid to see how art piece is valued? If some songs is being recognized or being the top like or top most listening on some applications, does that mean that song is really having a good value, or does that mean that song is just being recognized by people? Because sometimes the recognized thing doesn't mean it must be good, or that, but it also doesn't mean it's bad. As an artist, if our art is being valued as the most jazz or the most pop songs, does that mean that our art is already having a proof that it's really good, or being criticized by professionals that the art is really valued by how they must value it? Viewers is important, but what more important is the professionals' view, because they learn deeper than us. By award is valued by professionals, help artists to setting up a goal, so one day they can come to their own awards. If this case also can motivate some small artists that just begin their work or their career. If they want to go to Grammy, they must work hard to get it. It helps them to having reasons to working hard on their in their work so that one day they can come, because if you're comparing, if artists having a lot of views, then receive a lot of awards, of course they rather to receive a lot of awards, because awards is a part of achievement. And awards can be a physical proof. From awards too, they receive a trophy. Maybe you think trophy is not important, but trophy is something they can proud of. Trophy is a physical thing. They can bring it, they can photo with it, or they can put it at place where people can see it. Different if art is not valued by professional or not this award. Imagine this: your art is good, but people just saying it like your art is good. But do other people believe that? Different if you have a trophy. People will see you having a trophy, you having an award. Of course, people will do more believe that you are having this valuing art piece. I will begin to my second argument, which awards is a shape of validations for artists. Artists work for good, their work, so they're having a great value, great masterpiece, and even great career. When it comes to art, we know that artist is the professional one, right? But after the artist itself, there's a criticize again. Of course, criticize already learned in art. Artists need viewers' suggestion on their work, but artists need something or someone specialized at this point to following their work. Awarding is a shape of validations, so they know if their artwork is good or is bad or is needed something to more good. So the singer or the artist itself will knowing the flaws of their artwork. Awarding not just only based on viewers, but sure from the criticized that of course will known about the art. By criticized by the specializations will sure help artists a lot of on their art validations. Viewers doesn't mean that the art is good. Viewers can mean it's controversial, like I said before, having a lot of conflict, a lot of views can be that means it's good, but also can mean it's bad, because sometimes views and quality doesn't go in one line, but sometimes it do go in one line too. From this gray area, the biggest reason why we need this kind of shows, so we're knowing which one is in line with the quality and views, and which one goes up with the lines. For examples, poetry. Of course, you know what poetry. Poetry for me is a hard art to understand it. Maybe for some people saying poetry is just a word that doesn't mean anything, but for the specialists, poetry means a lot. They can see the background. They can of course see the means between the poetry is making. By that, we as the basic people doesn't really know how to valuing art, different with the people who really learn about it. Therefore, we believe that by a process award and recognition in the artistic and creative fields will surely making people or artists feel less motivated and doesn't know where to get the validations. By that, we believe that from not a process awards and recognition can be as a motivations and shape of validations to help artists grow. Thank you. Proud to be opposition.